Hello everyone, welcome to Drinks and Mics, brought to you by Nairametrics. My name is Dre. We're going to start first with the Iran 12-day war.
You look at, the new Ayatollah, right? I mean, you killed his father, you killed his wife, you killed his child, he's probably injured, and you say, let's have a ceasefire. I feel like Trump is going to dump his allies and walk away.
If the Iranians get what they want, which is spiking in his oil prices, they know that this is what will make America nervous. The world goes into a recession, and then we start to see markets get a bit more interesting.
Globally, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, you're a trader, how do you see the market? You personally.
Yeah.
Forget about what others think. What if you had a credit line of $1 billion to trade, right? And you go in on your Monday, you sell off, and you still have that $1 billion, where are you going to put it? Crypto is down. Are you going to still put it in gold? So you're waiting to see what next. Trump now comes out and say, you know what, this is what's going to end in 12 days. What are you going to do? Sit down? Your boss is going to call you, do it.
Yeah, 100%.
What are you doing $1 billion sitting idle? Yeah. Put that. So I kind of feel like...
Well, people have to be investing.
Yes, because I think that there's just so much credit going around.
This thing has shown that the true safe haven is cash.
Yeah.
Not only cash, but USD. Dollar has proved itself to be the ultimate currency. Cash and near cash instrument.
Fuel prices have gone up. Everybody's increasing prices. Is this reflective of how much our economy has changed from the market side? Because if it was before, the fuel price probably be the same, and you're probably seeing queues and all that stuff.
Would you rather pay more per liter, or would you rather spend 10 hours queuing for petrol?
Imagine this sustains into the mid-hundreds, for example.
I think we're screwed, man.
One of the things the government is riding on now is that we told you will suffer for a bit, but these reforms were going to work. We are seeing the outcome that these reforms appear to be working, and then
you need to hold the governors accountable.
It is insulting, it is annoying, insulting to the brain that you have a state government, that allows a place like Alaba. If you see the roads, the Alaba road itself is terrible.
Power has been bad from the tail end of last year.
Power is terrible where I live. Absolutely terrible.
The current design of this sector, market design, is doomed to fail always.
I feel like someone is just sitting by the switch.
Is this the worst power minister we've ever seen?
Tinubu today has not fired any minister. Somebody needs to lose their jobs.
Over the years, go and check. Nigeria fails woefully when it comes to centralized utilities. Hello everyone, welcome to Drinks and Mics, brought to you by Nairametrics. My name is Dre, and we do this every Friday, 6 p.m. on this channel on the NMTV, Nairametrics TV. If you're not following, just hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you can get new episodes as they drop. It's always 6 p.m. every day with the gang. Of course, we always have a new guest in on every day, and we have a new guest today. He's going to introduce himself in a bit. But of course, we have is it 3/4 of the gang? Yeah, we've got 3/4 of the gang in the house today. Yeah, 3/4 of the gang. My math is still good. To my right is the main man himself, Otumba Del P. What's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you.
It's been a big week of news.
You were meant to be out of the country, but
my flight
you
got
caught up
due to the US-Iran issues. So looking for ways to escape.
You couldn't air yourself out of this.
No.
That's some things I can say. GPT couldn't solve this one. No. Neither can Claude solve it. All right, of course, we got the man who's back. He's been out for like 2 weeks now. The man I don't know, be great.
I'm tired of you guys.
I
needed a break.
They were looking for you.
I needed a break.
Looking for you, like, where you at?
I'm back with a vengeance.
You're back with a vengeance.
It's good to be back.
Okay, all right. We'll see what vengeance you come with today.
Fancy socks.
Yeah, fancy socks and all that. I think I've not seen you wear this. What's this?
Oh, it's a whoop.
Oh, okay.
It monitors my stress and helps me sleep at night. Well, monitors my sleep and my stress and everything else.
I hope it's not Chinese though. Not the type. Those glasses that you wore the last time. I was doing stuff for you.
That's a book.
No, but this is really good though. Honestly, I've been struggling to sleep, especially with headlines now.
So how does this make you sleep?
No, it's just well, you never need to take it off, right? Because first of all, the charger's remote is it's mobile. Rather.
So how does it make you sleep? That's
No,
what
it doesn't make me sleep. It just monitors my sleep, so I know how much I spent in REM. How much.
So is it like linked to a phone or something?
It's linked to my phone, yeah.
Deep sleep.
All right, there's apps that do this now.
I prefer the Aura. The Aura ring.
The Oura ring, yeah. So that's the same thing, right?
Yeah, same thing.
Now, wow. So these are guys, you can see guys who are very, very...
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, sleep
who
is
use
important,
tech
though.
to sleep and stuff.
Important.
I'd like to know, what do you use to sleep? Do you use the traditional way to sleep, you know? There are some people who there are certain things that you eat that makes you sleep. I don't know. Some take melatonin and all that stuff. Anyway, Tunji Andrews can be around today. He's out hustling. Gonna be back next week. By the way, the full gang is gonna be available next week for the Nairametrics Money Fair Wise 1.0 happening at the Landmark Event Center on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we're gonna be there Wednesday. If you want to be part of this, you better go register. Limited slots available, particularly for that session. We have a special guest who's going to be coming that day. I'm not going to reveal names, a special guest or guest. So I'm not going to reveal names yet. So you find out. By the time you're watching this, probably push it out. All right, we've got a special guest in the house today. We're going to let him introduce himself. Chukwuma, go ahead.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Chukwuma Nwanze. I'm Managing Director at Credit Direct, Nigeria's #1 non-bank lending. That's what it is. That's what it is. Nigeria's #1 non-bank lending financial institution. I'm really happy to be here. So I've been watching you guys. So it's
cool.
Welcome. I hope I'm not having what's that thing they call it?
Stage fright.
No, not stage fright. I'm just like aura. You guys, your aura is always really cool. So it's nice. But yeah, it's really good to be here. And I'm sure we'll have a great conversation.
What do you mean non-bank? Given that your parent company is a bank,
Credit Direct is is regulated by a central bank as a finance company. So we are independent, even though we are a wholly owned operating company within the FCMB group.
Okay.
FCMB is your parent company?
Yes.
Okay.
Fantastic. And congrats to MCMB for
completing the
capital raise.
Did you help?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Hard work, but we were confident.
All hands on deck.
Let's not go to that topic. It's very sensitive.
Well, congrats. You made the deadline. You just about made the deadline.
No,
which
they
was
made me
worrying.
like well.
We made it well. We were confident from day one.
I think you guys are the only ones that were confident, because I think the rest of us would say it was taking
No. People, it was just naysayers.
No, it was just the logic.
It was naysayers.
I heard so.
It's a lie. It was naysayers. They had their bar dropped since. Please.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard something different.
Don't mind
What you heard?
Or you naysayers.
Okay, all right.
Or you naysayers. Tunji is not here to pop this, but we'll leave it for. Although he's not drinking. Otumba is a wrong person. All right, so what a week! And there's a lot to talk about, guys. Of course, we're going to talk. You can see who is here already. We've got the man in. We're going to talk credit, to some extent today, but we're going to start first with the Iran. What's it called now? I think we need a name. The other one was 12-day war. Is it Middle East war?
Epic Fury?
No, not Epic Fury. As in, the media has a way of coining wars. So the last attack on Iran was called the 12-day war. That's what they called it, the 12-day war. 12-day war. Now I'm hearing Middle East war, because it's happening around the Middle East. Yeah. Somebody also said it was a World War III Middle East, whatever, some kind of
tackle war.
Anyway, different names.
It's like a tackle war, right? The whole tackle.
Yeah, because it looks like Trump wants to run away from it now, but I think the Iranians are like, we're going to keep going.
Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
So I mean, if you look at the new Ayatollah, right? I mean, you killed his father, you killed his wife, you killed his child. He's probably injured, and you say, "Let's have a ceasefire." You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, if you look, even think about the RRGC, right, is that in choosing who the new spiritual leader would be, is that this is one guy who's going to be everly motivated to stand by the Iranian
or to stand against
or the philosophy that they stand for, right? He's going to be able to carry that.
And I heard he's a hardliner as well.
Because he has felt the pain. He has, he's been through that.
But isn't the pain meant to make him soften a bit though?
No.
Like, you know what, just
at this point, if you lose your wife, you lose your child, you lose your father, what's left?
And I think he lost his mom as well, isn't it?
Probably his mom as well. I mean, what's left? So it's going to be it's not going to be a life of revenge or vengeance, right? So I don't know. Maybe we've woken up a sleeping tiger.
We were talking about off-ramp last week. Do you see any?
Talking about what?
Off-ramp last week, like how this ends. Do you see any happening anytime soon?
Man, I don't know how it ends, but I don't think it ends how the US or even the market thinks it's going to end.
How is that?
Right. So I think that there are two things that are playing in my head, and one of them is a bit of a weird one, so I'm not sure if I'm even ready to even speak it. But one of them thinks that this is actually hurting China more than we think, simply because if you look at it, if we go back to the Strait of Hormuz, 40% of China's imports comes from there. Right. So my thing is, and then if you look at currency movements, right? So I look at the markets and I try to figure out what is the market saying or how is the market viewing this war. We've seen oil spike. Yes, oil is spike, but then oil importers like Israel, the Israeli shekel has actually been stable through this period. If you compare it to Ukraine-Russian war, where it actually went crazy when that happened, right? When there was an energy scarcity and Russian oil went offline, all the oil importers spiked. Israel has been quite stable through this period. The US dollar has also been quite stable, but then the yuan is doing something very interesting. Again, the yuan also imports from this region. So there's a part, like I said, I'm probably not ready to speak to this theory, but there's a part of me thinking that if this is some sort of Trump being a genius and finding another way to attack China, and it's not really being spoken
But we're
about.
hearing Iran has been supplying to China.
So
it's
crude.
Well, they were supplying to China.
Yeah.
We know they were supplying to China.
No, they were still doing that. I saw that today.
There's been 11 million barrels moved this already.
Compared to what? What's the normal
to
amount?
China.
Compared to normal amounts.
Passing through the Strait of Hormuz as well.
But it's not the same
I think I saw that thing at the Wall Street Journal or something
I shared
today.
that news earlier today.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are we saying? Do you understand? So, that's what I'm trying to figure out. So, every single thing that we've said that, this war would mean for Iran negatively.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that, but apart from the fact that they are being struck, it's still happening.
Yeah, but I also think that Iran blocking this. Now, okay, I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit just to make it clear. But there's also, for me, an idea that Iran blocking the Strait of Hormuz also hurts them because their revenue line, right? They're hurting the revenue line.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to mean they're also going to fight an internal war, right? Because the administration is in trouble, right? The tax revenues or whatever revenues, oil revenues that comes in.
For me, I think all sides are going to get hurt. And my bet is that neither side wants to sustain it for too long. And so you're going to see Israel or the US try to bring it to an end as quickly
I think Israel wants this to go on, though.
Yeah, I think Israel has objectives and they need some time to achieve those objectives.
Yeah.
Now, with the resistance that you're seeing from Iran, and just like you rightly pointed out, very few, I think they are going to be a bit surprised at the level of resistance. Now, I think what nobody is really speaking about is how these other Gulf nations that have been attacked, the role they play, because it's really looking like it's an Israel, US, Iran kind of conflict. But if Iran keeps on hurting these Gulf nations, then they expose themselves.
Do you think they retaliate?
I don't think they want to. So if you look at the behavior, is that when Trump did the 12-day war, right? They weren't particularly on board with that. That was the first thing. Now that Trump has come back again for this second round of the war, is that obviously through diplomatic lines, a lot of them are like, dude, this is not something you should be doing. So they were not on board, but Trump doesn't listen to anybody. So
except Bibi, though.
Maybe,
Yes,
exactly.
maybe.
So at this point is they recognize that this is a problem that has been created by the US and they're not looking to escalate it because it's going to become a regional. And what you find out is that if these wars continue, what gets destroyed is our region as the Middle East. While other regions in the world are moving on, you guys will be dealing with the fallout of war.
Yeah, so construction and all that.
So Qatar, UAE, Saudi are not really keen on, or anybody else is really keen on escalating the war, right? So maybe when Trump moves, because Trump already said that, he's blown up all the locations and all the credible that, as we said that today, that there's no longer, there are no locations for him to blow up anymore, right? So he's already signaling that he wants to end the war. Whether Netanyahu will continue, that will be his own prerogative. But again, he's probably going to continue to, going to go on between Israel and Iran. But imagine Trump moves his carrier ships back to the US.
Israel's on his own.
Israel will have to face Iran by themselves.
But do you think that happens? Because I know when it started, Trump was talking about 4 to 8 weeks, right? Yeah. So the fact that it's capitulating now, is it that he's overwhelmed or he underestimated Iran?
I think he's struggling to underestimated them.
He's also. It looks like he's also struggling to justify it internally on his side as well. Right. I know that there was a tweet by, I think it was either Dubai or one of the UAE business leaders asking, indirectly, did you guys actually think about the collateral damage that comes from this thing? So for me, a business leader that is outrightly complaining, you're complaining to your leaders saying, like, oh boy, did you think this thing through? Look at what we're going through. And then Iran also they started bombing Amazon data centers. It almost seems like Iran is trying to destabilize the capital markets.
So Iran's strategy essentially, sorry to butt in, Iran's strategy appears to be, you know what? Pound for pound, you can't win the US. You can't not talk of the US combined with Israel. So what do? You fight a proxy war. So you start to fight destabilize the market because the only thing that will deter Trump is markets. So once it starts to hit the market, oil prices up, it starts to hit the political base in the US, and then they start to tell Trump, dude, you got to find an off-ramp. And I think that's what you're hearing now as well.
But the funny thing is the capital market isn't getting hit as much as I thought it would.
Apart
from oil spiking from 80 to whatever it is, which is heavily inflationary. Which is heavily inflationary, and I know high inflation, high oil is bad for US, right? It's always bad for US elections.
It's bad for everything.
When Bush the first and midterms are coming. But in terms of the rest of the capital markets, I'm not seeing a
markets had a down on Monday.
Yeah, but
they only came back. Yeah, remember that we're in a capital market that is largely credit driven right now. There's a lot of credit in the capital market, right? So, and then you now have a market that is also pretty volatile and very sensitive to information. So what happened on Monday, market tanked. And then on Tuesday, Trump came out and said, look, there was probably an end to the war. Market picks up again.
And oil prices.
Retreats again. So we're no longer, this is no longer 10, 20 years ago. So the way markets react now to stuff is almost like, you know what, they've done this. Is Taco coming? Taco comes in, everybody retreats, and we'll move on, and blah, blah. So people don't really sit down to think. Later, they don't realize, and like, you know what? Maybe these things, maybe we are looking at these things, we're not looking at these things very, objectively. Today, for example, IEEE announced that they were going to release 400 million barrels or so from their strategic reserves. That's huge.
Out of 1.2.
That is huge. Just to stabilize markets. So my point is that they know that there's an existential threat to markets. And so they are doing this. But even at that, oil price still crossed $90, which we all thought was probably going to be end of March, isn't it? Last time.
Yeah. So Iran has also come out to say that they're taking oil to 200.
Right?
Yeah. So again, it's more of the threats. I don't even know that they are
capable of doing it.
But the thing is that as long as you put in that threat, the guys who are going to drive the ships, the insurance companies are, whether or not Trump says I'm going to escort your ship or not, is that fear already exists. So no one's going to move their ships along that region. Even the Navy has refused to escort the ships through the straits. So there's definitely going to be some. I don't think this is far from.
I think inflation is unlocked and all. You don't agree?
Inflation is
completely unlocked. right now.
I mean, it's an inflationary
airfares are gonna
trade,
go up,
right?
logistics trades are going to logistic costs
It's
are
an
going to go up.
inflationary trade. Yeah, oil spiking is inflation, right? You've always seen it in the treasury markets. U.S. Treasury 2-year, 10-year has spiked. But for me, when I say markets haven't moved, maybe I expected an existential
Shock.
right? Yes, oil shocked, but when it comes to, yes, volatility spikes a little bit, but it didn't even spike to COVID level spike.
But it's 11,
Right.
11 12 days. Do you think there will still be some time?
Perhaps markets are
And also,
lagging.
and also, market seems to be pricing in that this war won't last for long, right? There's something that I use. There's an index or signal that I use to know whether to go short. Is the volatility index, spot and on forward. It's in something called backwardation, where the forward price is lower than the current price, which means the market thinks that tomorrow will be better than today. And forward 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, the market is seeing a calmness to everything going on.
I think that's a wrong assumption, because
No, but
there's
I'm
always
seeing it. Like I
information
talked
coming
about the
out.
shekel, the Israeli shekel being stable. The Tel Aviv exchange, apart from today.
Israel economically is not significant.
No, but you're bombing if you're at war.
Yeah,
why is your
because-
currency
yeah,
stable?
because-
and you're an oil importer as well.
because
or-
they believe what I also because sometimes at the end of the day, the people behind markets are human beings, not bots. We're behind markets. We're behind some of these things, and how we feel about the markets and investment and what we perceive matters a lot. So if you go listen to the analysts from Israel, they tell you clearly that the fact that they are doing this will help your market. They feel like Iran is no longer going to be a threat. They feel that they're at some point going to take over the Middle East. They feel that that's going to open investment for Israel. Geopolitically,
so the
Israel,
investors are solid.
so Israel is better off.
Yeah.
So that is their bet. And so for them, this is something they think that they can do. Let's just wrap this up over the next 2 weeks. You badly weakened Iran.
Yeah.
And then, threats to Israel reduces. You have a badly weakened Hamas, you have a badly weakened Hezbollah. So I think the Israeli market is betting that this is an upside for them.
positive. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
globally, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, you're a trader, how do you see the market? You personally.
Yeah.
Forget about what others think. What if you had a credit line of $1 billion to trade, right? And you go in on your Monday, you sell off, and you still have that $1 billion, where are you going to put it? Crypto is down. Are you going to still put it in gold? So you're waiting to see what next. Oh, Trump now comes out and say, you know what, this is what's going to end in 12 days. What are you going to do? Sit down? Your boss is going to call you. Dude,
Yeah, 100%.
what are you doing $1 billion sitting idle?
Yeah.
Put that. So I kind of feel like,
People have to be invested.
yes, because I think that there's just so much credit going around the markets that is also driving a lot of decision making, and that's why you're seeing a lot of all this volatility. That's what I think is happening. Anyway, oil prices, hit above $90, hit over $100, and then came back $90. Is this what unravels everything, Chukwuma?
Yeah, I think. I mean, if we bring it home to if we look at it from the Nigerian context, I see it as a double-edged sword. So it does the good stuff for government revs, right? I mean, even though that's still
No, we're gonna get that. I'm saying, is this what unravels the war eventually? Is this what just ends it?
I think so. I think so again, because if prices remain high, we've talked about the impact on inflation. It's going to cause unrest all over the world. Energy prices, and I mean, if you look at Nigerian CPI or look at global CPI, is really energy costs play a significant role in it. We've talked about the impact of global logistics. So at some point, the principal actors to the war, or in this war, would look at the economic impact, and then they will have to take a chill pill. I think none of the sides will get to their original intention. Everyone is going to take a diluted view on what they define as success, but the economics of it will be a major driver.
I think one thing we're even probably missing is, there was probably maybe 50% of Iranians were like, oh, this is not a legitimate government, right? Or maybe we're dispassionate about the current government. But I think with these strikes that have hit Iran and the kinds of attacks that have happened, we talked about 5,000 strikes so far. I feel like it's almost sort of giving legitimacy to the regime now. So I feel like
the approval rates goes up.
Yeah, I think approval rates have gone up. There's actually consolidation behind this current regime from the Iranians. That's what I'm seeing happening, and that I think that is something that Trump was expecting, that the people of Iran will take over or will rise up against the current regime. But I feel like with the kind of damage that's happened, that they actually consolidate behind.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this war going to be very, very different. And I feel like I don't think it's going to stop, to be honest. Except, of course, Trump just leaves the region, right? Closes down all his air bases. You expel all the ambassadors, from all the different countries.
You said he leaves the region?
Yeah, leave the region, abandon your bases, expel all the U.S. ambassadors from the region. And
Expel or withdraw?
Expel, not, whatever you call it, but the countries in the region will have to expel the ambassadors.
That'll be bruising Trump's ego. Trump doesn't look like a guy who will back down.
But
he's backing down already, right?
He's already backing down.
That oil at 120 made him
right now, they are looking to move the TAD. They're trying to move the TAD from South Korea to the Middle East. Now, for someone like South Korea who is saying, I have an existential threat with North Korea, you're not taking my TAD defense system. They're already whinging and unhappy.
When you say TAD, what do you mean by that?
That's the surveillance system that shoots down all the missiles, right?
Okay.
And if you recall that, we've been running this Ukraine war now for 3-4 years. A lot of this money spent was not actual cash. What you did was to give Ukraine military weapons. A lot of the things that were given were usually those defense system missiles. And that's the reason why there's a shortfall now, because I don't think they looked at what our stockpile is. They probably expended a lot of that. And these are things we're not in a war, so we don't really need to be having missile, reflecting missiles, right? So they probably get a lot to Ukraine.
And Iran is using this cheap shy
and now
drones.
now you need it, and you can't produce at the speed. So you have to then say to the guy in Ukraine, can we have some, please?
Yeah.
So there's a big problem.
How do you see this? What other risks do you see? Let's assume that this doesn't end as, if it doesn't end with, oil price going up.
If it does, I think that if oil price stays up, we go into some sort of recession. Global recession. Oil's sustained oil price always leads to, eventually would lead to reduction in consumption. Right, we saw it in 07 to 09 when oil spiked to 147 or whatever it was. It spiked to global consumption dropped down like 2 to 3 or 2 to 5%. I think that this is most likely how this thing ends. Trump, you could say that Trump is afraid of this spike in oil prices. When oil hits 120, he came out to say whatever he said, and then even this morning or last night, a senator or someone tweeted something about the U.S. Ship that escorted a tanker, which was a lie, and then oil went down to 80 something dollars, right? So I think that if the Iranians get what they want, which is spiking this oil prices, they know that this is what will make America nervous. The world goes into a recession, and then we start to see markets get even more interesting.
All right, interesting to know how this ends. Tell us what you think on the comment section. Where do you think this? Where do we go from here? What's going to stop this war? And if it does continue, what are the risks that you see? Let's hear your views. What we're going to be doing from now on is once in a while, we'll read out some of the views in the comment section, because you guys do have some amazing takes. When we read some of your ideas, we do read all the comments. I know Otumba does. I know I do. Tunji does. I don't know about Arnold, but I know.
I try.
I read all of your comments. All right, so we'll move on. Still on this matter though. While stuff is happening 5,000 kilometers away from Nigeria, we're feeling the brunt here. So fuel prices have gone up.
Everything has gone up.
Night to like 1,001. Everybody's increasing prices. So I have some, property somewhere, and they usually buy water, and they said that the cost of a tank of water has now gone up from 40K to 45K. Energy prices are good, diesel prices are up. I mean, is this coming to Chukwuma? Is this reflective of? So let me record this question, because I'm trying to frame this in a way that is more in the way markets think. Is this reflective of how much our economy has changed from the market side? Because if it was before, the fuel price probably be the same, and you're probably seeing queues and all that stuff. But now we're not seeing queues, but we're seeing prices adjust upwards. So is that what it is, or is it just maybe people taking advantage of the situation?
I think it's reflective of the policy direction of this government and how it really has changed things in Nigeria. And just like you rightly pointed out, so PMS is going at a higher rate, people aren't screaming because there's a subtle understanding that when oil prices have moved, or they are used to it, they may not know the dynamics that oil prices was changing it, but they know that something has triggered an increase in price. Now, where I really worry is that because between 2003 and late last year, the market had learned to adjust prices on practically everything. And the example you gave is a case in point. Whether the impact is felt or not, we just see, PMS price has gone up. It becomes the indicator to say, jack up your prices. And then inflation that we've seen for whatever index reason has been used in recent times, we then fear that you're going to start seeing things go back up. The CBN had just recently dropped the MPR by 50 basis points. You then start wondering, what's this going to do to the market? Rates have been declining for us who in financial services, for example. We've seen a moderation to rates. Is this going to be a reversal? And that's why the timing or how long this whole drama
really matters.
It really does matter, because we're just coming out of what was a not very comfortable cycle, and everybody's just trying to heave a sigh of relief, and it feels like, we are going back there almost immediately as we are going in. So it's not really a good feeling, right? We've enjoyed for a few months a level of stability, whether it's from an FX angle, interest rates normalizing. For businessmen like you and I, it looks like, okay, maybe we can start planning properly, and then this happens. But I was saying something earlier on, it's a two-edged sword, right? Government revs go, if we can keep production, which is a different dynamic to it. If production remains stable, then government revs go up. One thought played on my mind: if this sustains, do we see a world where, I don't think it's going to happen at $200, right? But imagine this sustains into the mid hundreds, for example. Would we see a reversal in what has been a hardline policy of government in terms of subsidies? Because at that point in time,
let's not go there.
Yeah. So the thing about the reforms has left us naked to the world.
Yes.
But sorry. What's his point?
It's a serious
If we get
conversation.
to 200, what happens to us?
No,
Yeah.
so
what happens?
I think we're screwed, man.
Yeah,
I think we're screwed. I think that, don't forget as well that the true safe haven, regardless of how I pander on about gold, this thing has shown that the true safe haven is cash.
Yeah.
Not only cash, but USD.
USD?
Yes. Have you seen the US dollar spike up? Right. So what that means is emerging market currencies, Turkish lira, South African rand, Nigerian naira, weakening.
Weakening, yeah.
Right. So, and this is
what about the Swiss francs?
it's been only 2 weeks, so. Right, it's been only 2 weeks,
and what about the Swiss francs?
So I hold Swiss francs, right, and I've been watching it, and it's been volatile. The volatility has been interesting. I've been buying more, right? But regardless, the volatility has been interesting. But I can tell you now, though, that yes, the Swiss franc strengthened about 22 to 30% against the dollar in 2025, and 2026 was strengthening. But when this war started, it started to weaken. The dollar has proved itself to be the ultimate currency, cash and near cash instrument. The dollar and really, really near-term 3-month treasury. So for me, if this thing sustains, our reforms have been wonderful and they're great. And I always say I doff my hat to the reformers and the policymakers. But this thing has really shown me that we are now naked to the world. And were we ready to be naked to the world? I don't know. So if this thing sustains, you're looking at, we're already at 1,440, 1,450, whatever it is naira to the dollar. We will spike up to 1,500.
But everybody's naked. It's not just Nigeria. And that's the truth, right? My view is two things have happened. Price of crude has gone up. So expected, but people are saying, how come the price has gone up by 50%? Right? Because you moved from 70 to what? 90, let's say 90 average. So that's just a $20 increase. How come the price of fuel has gone from 800 to this week? It maybe hit 1,002. I don't know what level.
No, but it was almost 900 before.
It was 900.
900. So
it's like 10-15% up.
But I heard some people in Abuja are selling at 1.5. So depending on where you live, right? The prices is varying. So people are asking the question, how come it's up 50%? But two things have happened. The price of crude has gone up. then the naira has devalued. So when you
depreciated.
Depreciated. I keep, so when those two things, when you add the input of those two things, you can then explain why, the fuel price has moved by maybe 40% or 30%, 30-40%, right? But what I do not want is that you started seeing that the pro-subsidy argumentators
of course comes out. I'm saying the
started
nakedness
rearing
now
their
shows.
heads again. We honestly need subsidy to be institutionalized in Nigeria for the next maybe 8 to.
What do you mean institutionalized? What do you mean?
Is that it goes away for the next. So
we can get used to the shocks.
Get used to it.
But can we handle the shocks? Because like you rightly said, we're just coming out of all of this, right?
No.
Inflation is finally at 15. Oh my goodness, it might be a 9 at the end of the year. And all of a sudden, what is it going to be now?
So what about poorer countries that don't actually have oil? What are they doing? Right? I always say this thing where we talk about Nigeria. If you go to Togo, is a poorer country than Nigeria. Cameroon is poorer than Nigeria.
Are they okay?
No. What I'm just saying is that these places, the price per liter of fuel in these places are maybe $1 to $2 per liter, significantly higher than Nigeria, and those people are significantly probably poorer than the average Nigerian on average in the commercial.
So I don't know those
centers.
economies, but how are they structured? How is a subsidy on their side? So I know Togo is heavily pegged to the euro, right? So I know that it enjoys some inflation protection because of that.
But if you look at the price they pay per liter,
across
all the countries across Nigeria, they're paying at least 50% more than we're paying at the pump price. Even today, where we're paying 800, you find that petrol in Ghana maybe is 2,000 naira per liter. If you move to Cote d'Ivoire, it's maybe 2,005. If you move to Cameroon, maybe it's they are paying significantly higher per liter in naira. If you do the analysis, it's higher.
I think
I'm not saying again. I'm not trying to be.
You're saying how are the local residents of this country doing?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's something they're used to, right? We as a Nigerian that has oil under my feet, right?
It's an entitlement.
I deserve.
You deserve what?
Deserve what?
Exactly. This thing is under my feet now. Why am I paying? Why are you comparing it to Togo?
Divide what you have under your feet. How much you produce by your population. That gives you an idea of what is what.
But I don't know.
I can't why the timing is tricky. And I mean, we're in March. There's an election in 9-10 months.
I do.
Even though I agree absolutely that we should be market driven and all that, but I'll be surprised if it's not also, and that's where the assumption is that we are talking about this crisis sustaining beyond a reasonable window. And if it's in very short run, everybody will survive it. But if it sustains, right, with 9 months or 10 months to an election, there'll be different kind of conversations. Remember,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, finish. No, I didn't mean to call you off. Sorry.
So, because remember, one of the things the government is riding on now is that we told you will suffer for a bit, but these reforms were going to work. We are seeing the outcome that these reforms appear to be working, and then
I said similar to what Sam said last week. You need to hold the governors accountable.
No, but so the problem is now that we are. This is the global. This is the world we live in, right? And we are naked to the world, to the shocks of the world. Right, so it's what do we do?
So it's one of the analogies.
We can't afford to subsidize. We can't afford to come and say, "Oops, okay, you know what? Let's control the price of things. Let's control the price of petrol." So what do we do?
So let me ask you one question. Would you rather pay more per liter, or would you rather spend 10 hours in traffic, 10 hours queuing for petrol? What world would you prefer that? Maybe we'll just do.
I mean, of course,
what difference does it make, though?
But I mean, even though I don't really agree with that the analogy though, because in no world would you want to queue to buy anything, right? That you shouldn't be queuing to buy. Exactly, not entitlement, but in no world markets don't work like that. But I think to maybe Dele's point, in most countries that adopt market policies, right? When you have price spikes, what government definitely doesn't do is come and say, okay, you know what, we're going to step in and just freeze prices and all that kind of. No, they are different tools that they can deploy beyond subsidies and all that kind of stuff, right? So, if for example this persists beyond, say, the next month or two and then continues to increase, there's got to be ways that the government can come in to address issues, and that's what we should
that's
talk
right.
about.
But what can you think of now,
What are
right?
beyond
America,
subsidies?
Trump can say the war is about to end, and then he reduces, and then the oil price goes down. What do we have but subsidies? Is the question. What do we have?
I don't know.
Beyond this.
I'm surprised you're going down this route, but
No.
I think let's go back again, right? I'm saying is why we need to support this deregulation.
No, what do we need to do? Let's even agree that
what
we don't
need
want to
to
do subsidies.
Is there needs to be
what are the
there needs to be some
alternatives?
direct interventions, right?
What sort of intervention?
Which would be either
Subsidies.
no.
So exactly.
Well, it depends on what you're subsidizing, right? So are we subsidizing healthcare, education, right? Are we subsidizing?
No, that's not
Have
going to
we
work.
historically subsidized this?
That's not going to work.
How does subsidizing education reduce the price of things?
Here's the reality, and let's be
Right?
realistic
How does
here.
subsidizing education reduce the price
Let's
of
be realistic, because that's what we do here, right? So we're saying no subsidies, right? Let's assume in a world where there are no subsidies, because to be honest, we don't even have money to subsidize. So no subsidy, right? There is no cash handouts. Let's assume we don't have that world. So it's a demand and supply issue, okay, and a pricing issue. So this is probably a temporary price shock. You have one major supplier, which is Dangote Refinery. The government just also recently banned or suspended importation of products, which probably would have increased supply. So the only thing I see here is if you're going to subsidize, in quotes, or if you're going to intervene, that's
Open
a
it
better
up.
word than subsidize, then you're either subsidizing at the supply side.
Yeah.
So are you going to go to Dangote and say, you know what, why don't we give you tax breaks?
Or give
why don't we
lower
sell
credits,
lower
lower
credit on crude oil price and all that?
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, all you're basically doing is that you're feeding in your cost into, you're reflecting your cost
100%.
essentially in your market price.
100%.
So can they subsidize
But
from
that's
the supply side?
the
Subsidy,
subsidy.
though.
Yeah, that's
It's
subsidy.
subsidy, rather.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
subsidy.
that's
though.
what I'm
It
saying.
is
a subsidy.
So what happens in other markets? Isn't that what happens in other markets?
No, I feel
So
like
you probably I
feel like there are other
tax breaks
levers.
are not subsidies now. You can give tax breaks.
I feel like
That's not a subsidy. It's not a subsidy.
I have a problem.
He tells you he pays a lot of taxes.
I have-
No taxes,
I have-
no taxes.
back in all
So
those
you
back
can
to
tax
tax.
I think my principle. I have a problem with subsidizing consumption.
No,
You're
that's what I said.
subsidizing the supply
I said
side.
you're subsidizing
The
supply,
supply
not
side.
consumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Because the whole idea of subsidizing the supply side is that the supply side would better use that subsidy to improve production so that at the end of the day, prices fall for consumption. That's
Yeah.
what it's done. That's why you give tax
Yeah.
incentives.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just the way you're using the word subsidy. That's why I use tax. Why do you give tax breaks to companies who build roads?
Yeah,
Because
I
they're
don't know.
going to better use
Of
that
course,
money to
yeah.
build the roads.
Yeah,
They're not going to
100%.
they're not going to
actually
do
agree with you on
kickback.
this one.
So my point is that
with you on this one.
come up with a better idea. Tell me, what else do we do?
honestly,
Because obviously, you can't, and this is what I always tell most people in markets, you cannot divulge political expediency or political issues with market issues. It's not possible. The incentive for a politician is different from the incentive for market.
And we also have
so
to
you
be
got to find a
careful of
balance.
this.
That's why Trump is saying, as much as
100%.
I want to fight,
I need to control this thing.
There are consequences because politically it will cost me.
Yeah.
So for a government that's going to an election year, you got to think that way. There are huge consequences if a government sits down and says, "Okay, you know what? We're not going to do anything," and then fuel price is 2,000 naira, and you're saying it's market, bro.
Yeah,
But
and also as a frontier
How?
market, an emerging market, I think we need to let go of the idea of free markets. We cannot be a free market. We are at a development stage.
What's
But
the
that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying.
This trip you went for, I don't know.
Drinks and mics.
But isn't that that's what you're kind of saying, though.
That's not what I'm saying.
Drinks
That's
and
what
mics.
you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not what you're saying. You're saying that
That's what I'm saying.
we can't be
What I'm
open.
saying is what I'm saying is what happens even in free markets. When you have price shocks, okay, government has to do what it needs to do to reduce prices, and there are tools for it. Okay, so if you have energy price spikes, what do you do?
step in.
Maybe you either step in on the supply side. Mostly you step in on the supply side. It's either you release strategic reserves if you have, so that you can provide more supply, or you give tax breaks, or you go and negotiate, find a way to reduce, you negotiate with OPEC, find a way to reduce oil prices. That's typically what happens.
No, but it's the same outcome, right? It's still some form of ridiculous subsidy.
It is not a subsidy.
It's the same thing.
So what are you saying? Sorry, are you saying that if, for example, there is famine in the north, God forbid, there's famine, major famine, and then food prices all of a sudden quadruple, government should just fold its arms?
I'm not, no. I said,
what should they do?
I said, I have a fundamental problem with subsidizing consumption, right? I don't have a problem with
nobody's proposing that here.
No. With oil, with petrol, it's consumption fully.
How is it? What did I say now that's consumption?
No, oil is a consumption item, right? There is no.
What do you mean?
No, but
oil is an
consumption is
input.
more like giving
Oil is what I'm saying. It is an input.
Yeah, so he's talking about to supply.
For how long are you going to then subsidize?
For as long as this thing lasts.
No. You need to open your mind. I hear what I'm saying.
The amount you're spending on trying to get the product into the market at a cheaper price is still equal to subsidy. The only difference was subsidy.
Why do you think the exchange rate is stable? Can you tell me why the exchange rate is stable?
Because markets are not free.
No, why is the exchange rate stable today? No. Why is the exchange rate stable?
Because the central bank is buying off the excesses. And they're entering the market, intervening.
Why is the central bank able to intervene?
Increase supply.
Why are they able to intervene?
Increase supply.
No, let's be real now. The central bank can intervene. And the central bank's external reserves is high today because we are operating high interest rates.
Yeah.
And that is a subsidy on its own. Let's not joke. Let's not people over cracks. You have high interest rates, so that you can have foreign investors bring in money. Is that not you call sachet banking? That's it. If foreign investors bring in their money, so you and I are stomaching even the fiscals.
It's being controlled. It's
high interest rate, so that you can have FX come in and have stability. That's just another way. So the other way would have been just fix it.
But it's
so you're saying I'm not fixing it. That's what I'm saying. This is the design that the market has created to allow this work. That's what I'm saying. So the market designs.
I'm very hesitant to open that door.
No, but it's not a change in policies. This is going to be for a window till things stabilize.
We cannot be so naked to global shocks. Where we are as a country, where we are in the recovery cycle.
Yeah,
this thing will cripple us. This thing will send us back to 2023.
Imagine we did not have a Dangote refinery, and this thing happened.
Yeah, but we do.
No.
So let's use it.
Imagine we didn't have it. Because I recall when we went back to COVID, right? What happened in COVID? Everybody prioritized their country, which is that my country will get vaccines first. My country will get this first, right? Africa as a continent only got vaccines after everybody else had been sorted, right? In this situation, what you find now with conversations is that Nigeria now is beginning to feature in how can Nigeria play a role in a bigger global oil conversation, right? And that is thanks to the fact that we have Dangote refinery. I put it to us that if oil was at 150, Nigeria would probably go bankrupt. And we were with subsidy.
Okay. No, yeah, without the refinery.
We will be bankrupt today. So I'm honestly, frankly, now that we've run away from that.
Whether we even have a refinery or not, I don't see how we go bankrupt without subsidy. Because what would have happened if you didn't have a refinery? You're just going to be importing. That's it.
No, but the thing is that even with importing, right?
And no, without subsidy,
even with importing, there are countries today that will start rationing petrol.
Okay.
Right. So the question is that would I send tankers of petrol to Nigeria if I haven't met my own domestic production?
True. So, no, for sure.
There's so many things here that
refinery ensures energy security in Nigeria. That's correct.
So
you cannot deny that.
So we need to give it the prominence that it needs. The question here is that how do we navigate a high open environment? The truth is, what I'm saying is that what makes Nigeria special from Togo or Cameroon? Right?
The fact that we're oil producers. I'm sorry, but it should give us. I mean, you talk about the UAE, right? You talk about
they don't subsidize there,
but we talk. Petrol prices are cheaper there.
Yeah,
it's cheaper because they are able to take. Hold on.
No, but
let me explain. First of all, is how much does it cost for them to get the oil out of the ground, right? Saudi is so efficient with production that I don't know, cost per barrel is maybe $10 or $20 or maybe $10 to get the oil out of the ground, right? For Nigeria, to get that oil out of the ground is probably $30 our cost when you put in the cost. So what is different is that for those countries, economies of scale have come in. The cost of production of getting the oil out of the ground is also lower, so they can afford to sell petrol and whatever product extra of crude at a price that is cheaper than every other market.
Okay, so then
we don't have that.
What's your solution to this? So are you saying that we should just be open and susceptible to global prices? Are you saying that we should just take the shock?
I'm just saying that I don't want to have a conversation about subsidy.
Yeah, so but what's the answer? Because
I think you're the one characterizing it as subsidy. Maybe you and Arnold. I'm not characterizing it as subsidy. All I'm saying is that whenever there are global shocks in the market,
government
whether it's a recession or whether it's a depression or whatever, there is a role government plays,
100%.
and there are market tools that are often used.
Yes.
It's the same tool you use when maybe banks go under. Market
the government's
tools.
role is to protect the
So
people.
it's not a subsidy. They are market tools and they are available.
I think
it all depends on which one you want to use and how long you think the shock will last. In this case, government is probably not going to do anything because they feel like this war could essentially off-ramp in the next few weeks. But the point is, if this thing starts to get to 2,000 naira, they're not going to fold their arms. They're going to do something, but it's not going to be subsidy because they don't even have the money to subsidize. Because subsidy is that you're paying. You're paying somebody for it. That's what it is. So what they'll probably need to look at is some kind of tax incentives. Or can we put tax incentives? Can we make the suppliers' economics cost of production cheaper and all that? Those are the sort of tools you're going to look at. Can you maybe walk around the contract? There's certain things that they can sit down together in a room and figure out that can get the price down. But if they don't do that, they have a major issue at hand, and that's basically what we're saying.
Even the subsidy for Nigeria, it wasn't like subsidy was actually a bad thing, but the fact that the corruption embedded in the
it was too corrupt,
right?
Too corrupt.
So what I'm saying is, I'm actually traumatized by going to revisit that topic because tomorrow night you say someone will take tax credit, right? They will go and they'll go and pile in some other numbers in the tax numbers.
No. So typically, the way tax credit works, essentially, it's just like almost like pioneer status now. So when government gives you tax credits, right? They also, Israeli government knows what it's doing.
Was abused.
Sorry?
Room per tax status was abused.
Yeah, they typically know. Yeah, they typically know how to get it back. That's how these things are designed. That it was abused doesn't mean it's not a good design. They have a way of getting it back. So when a government gives you pioneer status, typically, because I remember I've worked in a business where I got pioneer status, they would come in and there's certain things they ask for. How many jobs did you create? What was your revenue numbers? Did you grow up? What productivity wise did you improve? So because the whole idea is that if those tax breaks increase your productivity, then government tax revenues, government will have a way of clawing that back later in future. That's basically how some of these things work. Of course, I mean, I'm not saying that they don't. Corruption doesn't enter any of these things. It does enter. But anyway, we'll move on to inflation outlook based on what's going on. Is this maybe a blip in our inflation trajectory?
I mean, I think everyone knows that this thing spikes, right? It's hard to say whether it's a blip or not because we don't know how long this thing lasts. But I'm expecting it to last long. So I know that we have a 4 to 8 weeks of war. I think that this thing probably most likely lasts a bit longer. So we might actually go into a year that we see a spike in inflation and a serious weakness in naira. And I'm getting ready for it. So right now I think it's inflation trade. Prices go up, bond yields go higher. I think that by month 2, month 3 we should start looking at a potential recession.
Chukwuma, do you think that?
I think we start getting ready.
Chukwuma, do you think that, because I know that this Nigeria is crude analogy today, it's really squirrely. but do you think that Cardoso is somewhere looking and is like, man, I shouldn't have cut this damn rate? I should have listened to Otumba.
But he didn't really cut rates.
He
signaled. Okay, I'll let you answer. Sorry.
No, so I don't think he'll be regretting anything because since inflation started coming down, the central bank was very hesitant to make any cut. So if you think about that, if they just took 50 bips and they didn't really change a lot outside that, I mean, again, you know, this war, even though some analysts will argue the beats or the drum beats had been sounding for a while, it somewhat took
everyone by surprise,
100%. Especially the intensity at which had happened in the first less than 2 weeks of the war. So I don't think we'd have done anything differently. What I'm hoping the guys in Abuja are doing at this moment is creating scenarios and how to come up with the right tools.
Yeah.
If this thing goes for 4 to 8 weeks, which is what we somewhat all hope it does for, but if it goes for longer, what does it really mean for a number of things, right? So we see the dollar strengthening. It has impact on, you know, we are also a very leveraged nation. So we're talking about paying higher interest rates. So it's just going to be hitting us in different ways. There's going to be the discomfort that it causes the average Nigerian, and there's going to be the noise that comes from there. So I think they have to be sitting down right now, thinking of scenarios and being proactive and transparent about, you know, bringing out those solutions in the different case scenarios that they come up with. But they've shown that they are thinking, so I expect that they're already looking at these options and working out solutions for it.
It's a difficult place to be, man, because we were from the borrower's perspective, we're finally starting to borrow at a reduced rate.
Correct.
Even though we knew that we had to increase our debt, so we needed to find a sweet spot that still attracted money, right? But it was a relief that inflation's coming down, currency strengthening. US yields are going lower, the dollars globally is cheaper, so we can relax a little bit. And all of a sudden, this spike has come, right? And they need to keep rates interestingly high, especially for the foreign investors coming in. But let me ask you a quick question, sorry, as a private lender, what are you thinking, right? What are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you forward thinking? You know, because in my mind, rates were coming down, so lending rates were eventually going to come down this year. So everybody had that trade on, everybody had that mindset on. But now, what are you thinking? So what do you think?
So I think
in terms of forward looking,
I think the market hadn't fully adjusted to a world where rates were coming down. So we all had sat down in boardrooms realizing that, okay, things are changing and so rates will come down. But I don't think we had all gotten into that full moment, right, for it to have caused any significant change. Now, what this is doing in boardrooms today is saying, again, is the question of how long this is going to last. So I think people are going to be very patient before they make any rate cuts or take any decision on taking rates upwards. I think the lessons we learned from 2023 will come to the fore again. And I think the next 2 weeks will be very decisive for financial institutions on how they respond to it. Again, for me, it's personally painful in the sense that it looked like, okay, the benefits could be felt by financial institutions. Customers will start seeing the benefits, and we're all going to have a better year. But this now creates a scenario that maybe we had it somewhere in our assumptions, but nobody really thought the probability of occurrence was going to be high. So I think at the end of the day, the next 2 weeks to 4 weeks will be very decisive for.
I think for me, if I was to make a bet, is that I feel like Trump wants to walk away from the war, right? I feel like he's the kind of guy that wants to go in,
but
strike.
is he deciding?
Now I feel like even if he decides to run away, right, which is when he chickens out, I feel like that war continues between Iran and Israel. Those are the two factors that I'm not sure what happens. It feels like Israel obviously is always in the mood to go to war, right? Iran has demonstrated that we have resilience to continue
2 weeks
to do this thing, right? And
but I'm sorry but if, let's assume Trump walks away, if they deal with the Strait of Hormuz, because that's the inflection point, right? If Strait of Hormuz is open and everybody's moving their oil and these guys are fighting,
no one really cares again.
So it's that for me becomes will Trump walk away and find a solution to allowing global
Because I feel like Trump is going to dump his allies and walk away. Which is why I'm saying
allies been Israel now. That's the only ally he has now.
No, I mean like even the
the Arab countries,
Gulf
yeah.
nations, right? Because he's gone to this war without their consent, right? So I feel like he's going to walk away and leave a mess, which they would then have to decide how to clean it up. Which is okay. Let's call our brother in Iran and say, okay, oh boy, Mook will try. But I feel like Iran is like a beaten up child. He's very upset. He needs to react, and what he wants to do is also ensure that whether Trump is here or not, he needs to feel pain.
Yeah,
and that pain is
this
that
never happens again.
we need to get that oil price to 200.
Yeah.
Even if for 2 months, but at least just know that next time you just don't come and invade our country.
But you know one of the negatives. I know we're going back.
Imagine a world where the regime change is actually happening in America.
But one of the negatives of them playing around with this almost too much is everyone starts to find an alternative, and that's in the long run. That's bad for them. Do you get what I mean? It's like, okay, you're trying to show that you control this. We need to now figure out, the rest of the world needs to figure out.
But the world have found an alternative since. That's what we're trying to do.
But that's bad for Iran.
But there's no alternative. That's the point. But they've been finding an alternative for
but now the incentive to find an alternative is stronger than ever.
There's no alternative.
There has to be.
40% or so Saudi Arabia's oil has to flow through the air.
It's just a very narrow corridor.
China.
That would take 5 years.
But that's what I'm saying now. But the incentive and the funding now will be accelerated. So in the long term,
but it's also going to be expensive. But anyway, I was going to ask you, Dilly, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, in fact, maybe a month ago, there was a lot of bulls for the Naira. When it was hitting 1.3 and a lot of people thought it was going to go below 1.3, maybe 1.2. But now it's back at 1.4. What's Iran got to do with it?
I feel like maybe we've obviously had a little bit of a soft sell-off from internationals, right? But I feel like
exits.
Yeah, maybe some exits, but that will put some pressure. But the truth is, if we're able to sustain our crude production, right? What should happen is that, this is what I've always prayed for, is that as oil price goes up, there's more dollar that is flowing in to replace the FPI.
I know. If wishes were horses, we'll all have one, right?
But the president signed an EU now.
The magnitude of the outflow, right? Is that at the end of the day, right? If production stays relatively up, and I realize that this government is throwing everything at the oil and gas sector, right? But I'm saying is, even if at our current production, if oil goes out to a ridiculous price, you're getting more FX. And that should hopefully be able to replace the outflow. Yeah. In which case, I feel like the central bank might still be able to, I know the currency may be weakened by another 15%, but should still be able to attain stability.
Now we know that what we were enjoying was just a weak dollar. Right.
Is that what we've been enjoying?
That's what we're enjoying.
But right? I mean, I thought the conventional wisdom out there is that Naira is undervalued, ain't it? Is that not what they're saying?
Yeah, but still, man, we open ourselves up to foreign portfolio inflows that were the hot money that's ready to leave.
But what is the alternative? What alternative do you have?
What alternative to what?
What alternative do you have to that?
What do you mean?
What alternative to
hot money it should have been the plan to take advantage of this inflow and figure out how to find alternative ways to generate, whether it was dollar revenue or increase our dollar revenue, right? We didn't have enough time.
We didn't have enough. I'm trying to understand. Who doesn't have enough time?
As in, for me, FPI is coming in, was strengthening the Naira, right? We needed more time to increase our crude production. We needed more time to make sure
How much time?
Well, clearly we do. Right, because just a small shock in dollar is sending the Naira weaker by 12%?
We're not there yet, but it's not, the currency is only
but we're still hearing the CBN probably even prefers it to be at 1.4 levels.
Yeah, which is where they've always
rather than at 1.3 levels. Because the risk is that at 1.3 levels, you're seeing at 1.3 levels it probably exacerbates exits.
Honestly, if we're at 1.5 and we're stable at 1.5, I can live with it.
You can. That's you.
No, but we've been there now, and we've been stable at 1.5, right? This moving to 1.3. The point is a recent thing.
I get you, but the problem with Nigeria is that, and especially businesses in Nigeria, is when the dollar hit 1.6, everybody increased prices. 1.7, everybody increased prices. When it went to 1.4, they didn't reduce prices. Now, if it hit 1.4, 1.3, they didn't reduce prices. Going back to
Imagine
1415, they
repair,
increase
repair.
prices again.
Yeah.
So that's your man.
So that's just the anyway. I don't know, but we gotta move on, guys.
Okay.
We move on to the state of electricity. I don't know whether you guys, what's it like in your neck of the woods?
Power has been bad from the tail end of last year. Well, I mean,
Is this the worst power minister we've ever seen?
is it? Which ones have we had?
At least in recent years. Do you even know who he is?
Yeah.
I know who he is.
Yeah.
I feel like he just wants to be governor. So that job is just a transition phase.
I mean, I can speak for myself. Power is terrible where I lived. Absolutely terrible. I feel like someone is just sitting by the switch. Switch it off and on. Power is absolutely
It just comes on,
abysmal.
goes off,
It is
just comes on.
abysmal.
So I will confess, right? In my current house, I've lived there for about 7 years. I've had 22 hours of power every day for the
Are you
last...
serious?
Yeah.
Grid power.
I don't think
Grid
I've
power.
had more than 1 hour.
So,
That's what I was-
so I look at my consumption.
You're lucky.
In the last
And
few
I'm band
years,
A.
I only buy 1,000 liters or 1,005 for the whole year
Of diesel.
of diesel.
Are
For the
you
whole year.
Are you serious?
This is not.
No,
this is grid.
This is my own spend.
No,
right?
this is your power now. Is it grid power?
Grid power, yes. Grid power. So I get 20
We
hours.
should really
I mean,
Now-
there are certain parts of Lekki. If you live around Orchard, if you live around,
However,
where your you know what to disclose
around
the location.
that's not my location. But before they can put it up. But
No, I don't have lights.
since last year, I think since the summer last year, which is July, power has just been really bad. So now I'm probably getting less than 10 hours a day. Now I realize that I have actually bought 1,000 liters since December till date.
And you're alone.
And I'm currently at maybe 500 liters left. But what I would typically buy for a whole year is what I have bought between December and now.
Okay.
Yeah,
That is how-
What's your
that is how
experience,
bad.
Chukwuma?
I
I mean, you run a business, so
yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? Especially in the last 1 month. The last 1 month is when I began to even track how bad it is, because at work you're pretty much running on gen all through. In fact, in our own context, even when there's power from the grid,
You just-
it's uber high voltage. So we've seen all kinds of scenarios play out in the last month. And again, it maybe speaks to why the price of things never come down. So even if certain elements in certain variables are adjusting, a new element that is operating at an adverse variance creeps in and then just leaves you at a near loss-making position. So you can imagine what's happening to guys who run manufacturing type establishments.
no, those guys don't even rely on the power.
It's just,
I mean, the funny thing is that I was in the power sector for almost a decade, and it's incredible how much things have sort of like gone worse. Because I do know a lot of effort had been put in to try and change things, but the market design is just
But
terrible.
market design, but
It
does
is
that-
just
does that-
terrible.
Is it that
There's a lot of
production has dropped?
political production is less than 3,000 megawatts.
So someone needs
there
to
there are gas issues. There are gas issues. There are pricing issues still. There is also issues
still
of
a
debt.
subsidy.
There's debt issue. The subsidy is still there, but even very little. There's
Well, you know
still
why this is embeds?
estimated billing issues. So it's a complete mess.
So
And here's what I want to maybe put you guys on the spot. There's a video that I saw recently of the president talking about electricity and basically saying if it doesn't work, then you shouldn't vote him. Should he be judged on electricity re-election?
Absolutely.
Is it a major thing that we should hold him?
100%. But however, there's no something that he promised, which I'm really surprised they haven't. Tinubu today has not fired any minister. So we hired, was it Hajia, the lady that used to head MPA? she was supposed to basically run KPIs and what's the thing? KPIs for the ministers.
She was special. I forgot her portfolio again.
Yeah, exactly. So her job was to say, basically rank the ministers, how you perform, you know. And I'm saying is that, so where are the rankings for those ministers? What have they done versus what you've told them to do? Their KPIs?
Because the power minister really, to be honest.
So the question is that, why has nobody been fired? Right? Somebody needs to lose their jobs. People need to lose their jobs. At least shake the polity, which is that, you know, I guess because you're going to an election year, nothing's going to happen. But I'm just like, that promise, which was that you would hold ministers accountable. They'll be held to certain KPIs, and their performance will be based, the fact that they will be renewed or stay on longer will be based on that KPI.
Don't you think the power minister sounds powerless sometimes? That the guy is always talking about the decadence, the decay on all the
what a powerless power minister.
You know, because every time I hear him speak, he says, oh, well, the investment requirements are beyond what anybody can do now. It's coming on the back. Yeah, so it's almost
beyond
as if...
what anyone can do.
So, you know, the funny thing is that you've had... Because I remember last year, I don't know what it was, when we had the Joma here or somebody, I forgot who had it, we talked about power extensively, and it's just incredible that nothing seemed to have changed since then. Mind you, you've had Electricity Act.
Things have changed.
They came with nothing. They've gone worse. I beg your pardon. So they came with this amendment to the Electricity Act. They've done this. They're giving states power. Nobody is going to invest in that sector.
But they've done the end bets. They did this end bets, but they managed to raise.
They've tried to raise debt and all that.
But there's liquidity that's willing to. So there's liquidity that's willing to invest. This end bet thing showed that they can raise. I mean, the timing was wrong.
Yeah, and what I've always said is, because I remember I was speaking to a commissioner sometime last year, and I said, the current design, and this is a sector that I played in, the current design of this sector, market design, is doomed to fail always. It's always going to fail. Because the problem is endemic. It's like hydra-headed. So typically when you have, it's just almost like a night. You couldn't have solved the NITEL problem with NITEL. You need to have like a rebirth. Do you get? So that's why.
Honestly, I don't even know how to.
Yeah,
what's that rebirth?
Because the rebirth is, I mean, I don't know. So if investment is going to come in, probably going to come in into the smaller power companies and all that. Remember last time I said here that if there's one problem that I know this country has over the years, go and check. Nigeria fails woefully when it comes to centralized utilities. Always fails. That's why you don't have water. That's why you don't have central water. You don't have central sewage system. When it comes to central utilities, central power, central telecoms, they will fail. Because the sort of discipline that you need to keep those things going, we don't have it.
So the two things, the generation, transmission, and distribution. We've sold generation, we've sold distribution. Should we be selling transition?
No, but whether you sell all of them or not, is that the time that you had to have done the change, what you needed to do was 2014-15 when Buhari decided he wasn't going to do it. So it's almost like you lost the opportunity then. You're not going to start clawing it now. So now there's a debt problem. The discos can attract investments. Most of them are insolvent. They can attract investments. Transmission side is held by government, completely corrupt. Have a lot of issues there. You have the generation side. They can generate, but they can't even increase capacity because there's nobody to wheel. Exactly. Then they are not getting paid. Then you have the gas company saying, why the hell am I producing gas? I'd rather just flare my gas because I produce gas. You're not even paying me at the cost reflected price.
Yeah.
And then even at that, you're not even paying me all the time. So it's an entire so for utilities to work centrally, everything needs to work together. So that's why it's got to be the borehole mentality. There's a reason why you have a borehole in your house. There's a reason why you have a borehole in your house. There's a reason why you have a borehole in your house.
But
this is why you have those things because the utilities don't work.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that's where power is going to go. It's going to be decentralized at the end of the day. So you got to have to come to Lekki Phase 1
and say,
and then you centralize that.
But if you even think
it's more expensive, but at the end of the day, because the reason why people were against it before was it's actually quite expensive because when power, the economics of power, the way it works is the more you're able to generate, the cheaper the cost per tariff.
Yeah.
So if you generate for Lekki residents, for example, you basically divide the generation cost by
the residents.
the people here. That determines whether the price will go up or not.
Yeah.
So you can have a situation where power cost is even cheaper in Lekki and more expensive at Ajegunle. You can have that kind of setup.
Yeah, but depends.
Do you understand?
With the guys in Ajegunle pay.
That's the point. So the thing is,
so I go to South Africa, right? If you go to Johannesburg, Soweto, they don't pay for power.
by the way, you know that's how prepaid meters.
Because
That's how prepaid meters started.
Because they believe that power is their right.
Yeah, prepaid meters started because in prepaid meter, the whole idea or concept of a prepaid metering, in fact, the invention was South African. Because during the apartheid era, the apartheid government who were in charge at the time couldn't go into Soweto and all those places to collect money, right? So what they now had to do was design a way to do it, and it was a prepaid meter. So since we can't come to yours, then you got to pay ahead, and a lot of the proprietary whatever that you need technology to run prepaid meter is from South Africa, nowhere else. Yeah. So that's it. Because in other countries, they don't use prepaid metering. They just send you a bill at the end of the month and then you pay. That's what happens. So that's why it's like that. So if it happens here, my point is, if you decentralize it, that's the problem. That's why people who are saying, look, it's got to be centralized. The reason why they say that is because at the end of the day, you find out that power might be cheaper in Lekki, which sounds counterintuitive, and more expensive in Ajegunle or in poor areas.
So can I,
because it's about generation and consumption.
We're going to rabbit hole here. So if we even say we go decentralized, right? And they now said, Godre, we will sell your Ajegunle. Will you buy Ajegunle?
So it depends on it. So if there is a path, let's remember, people in Ajegunle use data, don't they? They use lines. They pay now. So at the end of the day, all a businessman wants to see is a path to recovery. If there is a clear path to recovery, he would do it now. But the reason why he probably won't do it now is, okay, for me to go to Ajegunle, it means that I have to start to build a distribution network. And so that's why most times you want to leverage on the existing distribution network, which is what the discos already have, because they already know Ajegunle very well. But even the discos are struggling as well, because to manage Ajegunle, you need to go and meter all of them. But we also know we know that in this country, we don't stick by house town planning rules. So somebody who builds a house that is meant to be for one person can go and split the house
into five. Face me, I face you.
So you have the kind of things you don't have in most climes. You have it here. Face me, I face you. A house that is meant to be commercial, that's meant to be a residential house, all of a sudden is a commercial house. So that affects your tariffs as well. So that's why it's. So
it sounds like it's not a problem that even you can.
So what can solve it? That's what I'm saying. What can solve it is it's a decentralized system where if you give license to somebody who lives in Ajegunle, they will run that stuff. After all, people who run all these small kiosks and betting and all that, they know the market now. It's not about.
So if you get
they will run their stuff.
If you get a local Ajegunle guy and say you have equity in this business and your job,
they will run their thing. Yeah, they run their thing. They give loans to these people. And so it's all about. But the point is that if you now sort of expand it, zoom out at a larger level and start to make it more centralized, then that becomes a problem. And that's why we're having issues. But I've been trying to know what power is like in your neck of the woods. Are you getting enough electricity?
I don't think anyone
Actually,
is. I don't think anybody is.
How would you score the current power minister? Let us know in the comment section.
I was talking to someone this week and there was some interesting thing about power. They were trying to set up a product where they could give loans to people for power. So basically, normally that imagine on a Sunday night, Saturday night, my meter runs low and I can't recharge.
Yeah, that exists.
So
already
they put
like M-Copper.
like a loan on the meter.
Yeah, it exists already. Yeah. I remember when I was in this, because one of the projects that we handled, it exists already.
Okay.
So, but it typically,
and I don't think I know that well.
So but that model struggled for a reason, and I'm not going to give out ideas, but I'll tell you later why it didn't work. There's several reasons why it didn't work. So it's not like telcos.
Can it work?
They always thought it was like telco. It can work, but there's a reason why it's not working. So until you sort that issue out, then it will work. Yeah, then it will work. Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to other issues. Multichoice was taken over by Canal Plus recently. We're going to go into credit later, which is why you're here, though. There's been a lot of changes lately. Just trying to figure out how you guys see this. One of the first things they announced was that they were shutting down Showmax, which I still don't understand what the heck to do there. It's just I'm going to miss that. Is it Dragons or what's it called again? That's the only reason why I pay for that.
House of Dragons.
House of Dragons. That's the only reason why I pay for Showmax subscription. But what does it mean for content in general? I also saw something on Instagram recently where I had the views of Breakfast Club dropped significantly because they moved from YouTube to Netflix. Of course, the Breakfast Club guys are like, where do you get this data from? I saw it on the source on Instagram. So, in a nutshell, do you guys think Multichoice is screwed as a business model? I mean, bear in mind as well that Premiership is saying that they're already considering streaming as well.
Yeah. So I think Multichoice case is like where the market has moved and your strategy didn't move as fast as the market has moved. I mean, I look at my kids today, watching no cable TV.
No, I don't.
They're watching reels. They don't even have patience to watch anything more than 2 minutes.
Or watch Coco Melon on
they don't do all
YouTube.
that. So when that was changing, and I think Showmax was maybe for lack of a better word, poor response to how the competition that was being posed by
What's wrong with
Netflix.
Showmax though?
It was coined like
content?
the African. It was meant to be the African Netflix, and the African Netflix was not Netflix. Right, and so I mean, look at what you said. You were watching it for one show. I'm watching DSTV for Premiership, for example. And once Premiership only. Once Premiership is gone, I mean, they've lost another customer, basically. Right. So I think the response was, when the world was changing, they didn't adapt as quickly as. And there are so many cases like this over different industries, and I think this is another situation where they get consumed. But when Canal Plus made that investment, I really sat down to think, what's really the end game for
them?
Plus, right? Because I'm not
why
sure.
are they interested in Africa?
Yeah,
anyways?
why are they interested in Africa? Why were they looking at DSTV particularly? I never made sense out of it. So
the only thing I could say is that I feel like it's a platform to push the French agenda.
What's the French agenda?
I don't know. That's the only. I mean, given that obviously, you've seen all these, they've moved out of all these markets, Niger, Mali. But I feel like again, if you look at even America, right? If you look at the the Warner Bros, Paramount.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're buying this? It's because they want to push an American agenda for whoever, depending on whoever is owning the assets. So there will still need to be a platform for you which you can push an agenda to the people. Which you bought CNN, and maybe CNN now will now become a left wing or right. I don't know. They'll probably move. I would love to see a world where that changes. But I'm saying is that media is important in terms of pushing agenda. To win elections, you need to own. Now the technology is a different thing entirely. Right? I mean, the truth is, all African platforms that have tried to do what Netflix is doing have all failed. Whether it's Iroko or the other multiple South African ones, everyone has failed. And I feel I think the function of
where's Iroko these days though? I thought they still exist.
I think Canal bought Iroko, no?
No.
Didn't they buy?
Yeah, I think there was some acquisition.
There was some. It's not Iroko. It's not Iroko TV.
It was Iroko.
It's another spin-off. It's another spin-off.
So for me, I don't know. The whole deal surprises me. I'm trying to figure out what they see. But what even shocks me more is the fact that they're shutting down Showmax, right? Because I would have thought
But it's burning cash.
Yeah, burning
yeah,
cash.
but I would have thought that you would find a way to figure out the streaming side because that's where the world is going to, right?
Shutting it down doesn't mean they don't still
So
keep
they have to revamp it, right? Because because for me it's
I think that when I read the article, I can't remember the number. I think that they had lost maybe $100 million.
Showmax, yeah?
Yeah.
Showmax, yeah.
So if you're trying to consolidate an asset, you're trying to stop the bleeding. At least in the meantime, you still have the IP, you still have the institutional knowledge. If you want to relaunch it in a way where it makes sense, but you have to at least stop that bleeding.
Well, you know, so I have this feeling, right, and I don't know whether it's the right philosophy. I think for certain kind of products, the world has appetite for just a few big players.
Yeah.
Right? So you're trying to copy a model and adapt it. It could work sometimes, but it's not going to work every time. The world sometimes is just the world's not going to have two Facebooks. You could have how many Amazons and everyone has tried, but sometimes some models are just leave it for the guys who got it early, got the unit economics right, scaled very quickly and have won. Right, find something else.
So you don't think they missed an opportunity in being an Africa-focused, Africa-centric?
Africa is poor, I don't.
Yeah, so beyond Africa being poor, the content play is a global play. The content play is
I kind of hate the way he says it.
But, I mean, he is right.
He's so emphatic about it.
Poor.
No, but
We're rich. Where's the rich content? That's what they say.
no, we're poor.
Nigerian people.
But you could be the home of African content.
Go
Right?
to
Forget
this
one.
For me,
No, but we watch African content.
I'll tell you why I'm saying so. So the world is
Showmax is not available to you if you live outside Africa.
Yeah.
That was one mistake they made. So I have my Apple pointed at my UK address and I can't download Showmax.
Yeah.
Right. People outside of the continent, the diasporans, watch African content.
Yeah, but they can't watch.
But the licensing.
So the point. So see what Netflix, Prime have done. You have all the nice African content on
Prime on Netflix.
So I think Showmax they missed the trick there.
Yeah.
No,
They missed
I wonder why though. Maybe it's licensing issues.
I don't know. Licensing issues, that's one. That's cost, right? I mean, Netflix is probably making a loss in Africa. In certain countries in Africa. It's just a value added.
Sure, definitely.
Value added spectrum. You make your money elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, look at YouTube. How many of us have subscription based YouTube? Everybody's just doing free
watching the ads.
Happy to take 2 minutes of
figure it out.
take 2 minutes of adverts, right?
And then wait for it to just click and then just skip.
Exactly. So the African continent is poor. If you go to Europe or America, you find that families have Netflix, HBO, Disney, all running off your credit card.
So one of the largest media groups in Nigeria, Arise Group, also just launched Leke Leke. So isn't that a
Sorry, I don't know what Leke Leke is. I've been out of the country for a couple of weeks.
Come on now. Leke Leke has been around for weeks, for months already.
What's looking at you?
You guys don't even know what's happening.
What's Leke Leke? What is it?
Leke Leke is a social media app owned by the Arise Group.
What does it
Arise
do? Like
TV.
TikTok?
Yeah, well, like it's social media, like Instagram and all that.
Oh, that's a terrible.
Have you signed on?
That's a terrible.
So what's
that's
here?
a
That's
terrible
where you're
one.
trying to
I got it here.
reinvent a wheel that has.
So I didn't. No,
So
hold on.
what's the value add?
It's a social media. It's a social media app.
So Instagram,
for
TikTok,
Nigerians.
tweets, Twitter or X rather.
Yeah, so
Facebook.
it's a social media app built for Nigeria. You have that in Russia. You have that in China. Chinese have their own.
Yeah, but the Chinese have blocked
everywhere, everything.
Isn't that what we should be doing?
But think about it.
Block X and all these guys.
What's this one
Like,
that
call me a communist.
Instagram,
No, I'm not
the one
saying
that
that.
on Instagram that was launched by Meta. Even those guys are struggling to compete with them.
Which one is that?
True social.
Threads. Right.
Trends.
Trends have improved.
It has improved, but I'm just saying how difficult it is
Yeah.
for even when something that is meta backed to have struggled for a moment. Then look at the case.
That's a bad rise. That's a
Remember
bad
that
one, man.
Naira still exists today, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, still got
But
it.
what's looking at-
but in Ireland, right? That is the one thing that has let's go back. There's some things that have never changed. Like sucre, that sugar. Packaging.
Lion's sugar.
Has
Lion's sugar, right?
cabin biscuits.
Even Ludo. I'll be like that forever.
are just it's eternal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know that these products that you're trying to push are.
I'm not trying to push it. I'm just.
So what's the value add? What's that?
That's what I'm saying. So it's a homegrown social media app.
Yeah, but what's
so
the value
when
add?
you go there and chat, it has everything. It has videos. It has.
but so does
Snapchat.
Dude, I don't even have a Snapchat.
Let me tell you something.
Because I'm like, I'm only on Instagram.
Let me tell you
I'm
something.
barely
Let me
on
tell you something.
X.
I remember when WhatsApp came out. I remember when I told people then to download. This is like 2012, 13. What did they need for? They had BB.
But we have BlackBerry.
Yeah, they have BlackBerry. So what do you need WhatsApp for?
Yeah, but you comparing
So-
this licky to WhatsApp.
That's what I'm saying. You're being myopic. Is it the name that's worrying you or what?
No, but I just don't understand what the value is. Even as we stand here, I'm thinking of getting off WhatsApp. I think more people are trying to get off social media than they get on social media.
That's you, bro.
That's
No,
you,
but it's
man.
like-
People
so-
can
I get
People
WhatsApp.
social
Because that's
media, man.
another way you can reach me. You could call me on Snap, you can call me on Instagram, you can call me on WhatsApp, now you call me on Licky. Like, are you serious? Please don't call me. I'm trying to go back to text messages where you have to pay to text me. So
When you go on Arise TV again, I'll tell you to ask you.
No, but it's, I want to get off WhatsApp. So when you text me, you pay to text me. That means if you're texting me, you have to say something
You can
because
do
you know
it on
you're paying to
Telegram,
text
yeah.
me. So now there's another avenue to reach out to me. Like another one.
It's just sick.
Another one is
Anyway, we
LinkedIn.
gotta move on. So Shoprite essentially is out of Nigeria. Is that what it is?
No, so I think that let me not say some things that maybe that I'm privy to.
No, please say.
No.
Say it.
So I feel like so Shoprite is
What did they do
they've
wrong?
closed. The news now is that they've closed all their shops, right? But I think they are at the back end. The management is relaunching.
Is it going to be called Shoprite or something else?
I think it's probably called Shoprite, but they're
Are
going
you
to
sure?
they're going to probably. The truth is,
Would it
right?
run too late by then? Because the Chinese are basically taking over.
I don't think that Shoprite will ever go back
The
to
banner
the
is
scale.
still
I don't think
there.
that's
Yeah.
Shoprite
You
will go
got
back.
Rene has reinvented.
Rene is
It's
doing
almost like
very
Nigerians
well.
are saying, you know what, decentralized shopping, yo.
Yeah.
You don't want if you don't have something that
But you know what's
that
interesting
can
though?
compete with Carry and Alaba and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
But you know what's interesting?
I don't
Is
think
this
that- I don't
apps
think
that
that
are
you're
coming
trying to
online like
build-
Mano? The apps that are coming online, right? That you can actually
My Mano, which
you
is
can
like
actually now
grocery-
stay at home and just
grocery delivery.
Nigerian own app.
I guess it's
Yeah.
Nigeria only. I don't even.
And then you don't dig Leke.
No, but I don't need to leave the house, right? If water from my fridge is running out, I just go on Mano. The next 10 to 15 minutes, it's in my house.
Yeah, but
Right,
are
so-
you paying? What are you charging for the delivery fee? Because that's really the thing, right? So with those business models,
Yeah, but I
e-commerce,
pay. I don't mind. I pay. I don't want to leave the house.
So
Right?
that's
I'm an
fine. So,
introvert, right?
yeah.
Like I don't
That's
want to
you.
leave the house.
Oh, that's fine.
Will it scale?
You can send someone to go to the market.
It's a great model if it scales.
Yeah, if it scales, yeah.
If it's skills, the problem you have there is that so Arnold, let's look at the situation, and I'll just build the situation. Arnold lives in Ikoyi, so what has to happen is that what is to work and for it to be effective is that company now has to say you have a warehouse around Ikoyi that will serve Ikoyi VI. So it has to be captive. You cannot, and you have to have capital. You cannot have a manor and say the warehouse is in Ikeja. And then they're having to come from Ikeja to deliver to Ikoyi or to Lekki, right? So you need to be able to say, I can build
Depots of some sort.
across. And now, how do you cover the whole country? Or how do you cover the whole of Lagos? You get what I'm saying? Like, so
So you're saying it's a problem? Are you saying that? What are you saying?
it's a huge investment. It's a huge investment because you have to be because the only way you provide the service, you are saying you want your water in 15 minutes. The only way you can get that service is that product needs to be in a warehouse that is close to you. That's one.
But isn't there a
Number
way
two is
to
that-
partner with supermarkets, local supermarkets, almost like an Uber, or in a sense, right? So the idea
And so
is, and that's what I think. So
that's the global. That's the global model, right? Which is that they go to
local guys,
and you go
yeah.
and cherry pick of the shelf. If you wanted to say you wanted to own the inventory back end and deliver to Arnold, there are obviously other problems and considerations.
Yeah.
So this problem they're talking about Mano is already being solved by Glovo. Then you might as well just use Glovo or which
Yeah,
other-
I use
all
Glovo
these-
a lot, though.
These guys so they just interconnect all the different stores and you're fine. But where you want to actually own the back end, which is own the warehouses, stocking the product, the working capital requirements are going to kill you. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So it kind of looks like, I always think that shopping is almost going decentralized now. But tell us in the comment section, where do you shop these days? Do you rather go to the mall, or do you just go to do you go to your neighborhood supermarket, or do you just go to the local market to shop? Tell us. I mean, recently, I was getting some furniture and I realized, you know what, I'm not going to any of these furniture shops on the island. I just drove all the way to Alaba, and my God, what I saw there.
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
Oh, interesting.
In fact, that whole road now, you can get lost. Yeah. It's almost like a road to nowhere. They basically tar the entire road and it's just bush everywhere, but the roads are actually tarred.
How long does it take?
It just shows you what it means when you misallocate resources, especially infrastructure. But that's the topic for another day. But the Alaba road itself is terrible. And I cannot just it is insulting. It is annoying, insulting to the brain that you have a government that allows a place like Alaba. I mean, if you see the roads, the Alaba stretch, oh my God. But all the furniture you seen on the island, Nikoi, that's there. Where they bring it from. So it be like I got the plug. So the same thing you can get here for like 2M, probably get it there for like 1.5 or less. So if you want to really do
bulk shopping,
even electronics, just go there. Yeah. But the Alaba on your way to Alaba roads is good, but the Alaba road, the road itself is just terrible. Anyway, we pivot to Forbes. So the annual Forbes list came out, and there were like 23 billionaires from Africa, according to Forbes. Nigeria makes up about 4 of the billionaires. I think we had more billionaires from South Africa, I think, maybe like 5 or 6 or so. But it's just 4 names. What does that really say about wealth in Nigeria? Is it that maybe these are the ones that have decided to declare, or where Sotumba would like to say we're just really, really very poor country?
I guess first of all, there's verifiable wealth, which is probably what that is. I'm sure they're probably
Is it verified?
Yeah,
I mean, verifiable.
Forbes actually goes.
Oh, really?
Verifiable to the extent that they use your market cap of.
They use your market cap. They also value your assets.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they used to be.
We have situations where
Forbes guy, right?
We have cases of people that are burying dollars inside Sokewe now. So those are not unverified.
But they're dollar billionaires.
Unverified wealth, right? So I think I'm always encouraged by the Egyptian model. Or actually, no, even the Middle Eastern model, right? What they do in these economies is they find 10, 15 families that are intentionally empowered. So you go and handle car importation or car manufacturing. You go and handle restaurants. You go and handle. You find that when you go to Egypt, there are maybe 10 families that are running major.
Indians do that as well.
Major sector of the industry, and they're supported by the government. I'm sure probably what Obasanjo tried to do in his government, where I had those league of businessmen that he was
trying to empower.
I think that was what he was.
But to your point, though, I mean, looking at the list, about 11 or 12 of the top 23 were not African billionaires. So you have Morocco. You have Morocco. You have 2 Egypt here. 1, 2.
There's the families as well. Like
3. Egypt has like 6 or so.
Exactly.
They have Morocco. So you have Algeria. Just have them there. They have quite a number of South America. But in terms of West Africa, it's just like it's only Nigeria.
It's only Nigeria.
East Africa.
There's nothing Ghana. No, there's no East Africa.
I don't think there's East Africa.
Equity Bank guy.
Is it Tanzania, East Africa? No, East Africa here.
There's no East Africa.
Tanzania is East Africa now.
No, is it East Africa?
Yeah.
So
there's
there's
no Tanzania.
There's a Tanzanian here.
Who?
Yeah, I see one. There's Mohammed Dewji, Tanzanian. That's the only one in here at $2 billion in terms of wealth. But the only West Africans here are Nigerians, and that's just 4 of
There's
them.
nothing in Ghana. Is a small country. Togo doesn't exist. I
So
think we
West
should
African
go back to
countries
Togo.
are really
I think we should. I think we should go back to more Benin Republic.
Small in population.
Yeah, Morocco has 3, Egypt has 5, South Africa has 7, Nigeria has 4. So those are like
Actually, where I'd love to see.
But is it a reflection of? Sorry, but is it a reflection of the country? So I don't. I'll be honest. I don't pay attention to this stuff. I really don't, because
you gotta pay attention to it.
No, but I don't, because I don't think it's a reflection of the state of the economy. Right? It's more a reminder that we are going through this massive rich-poor divide, right? Where the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Rich are getting richer because they're buying assets. Prices of assets are going up. The poorer gets poorer because we can't afford to buy assets, right? So we can't enjoy that spike in asset prices going up. So inflation is going up. The rich get richer because inflation is a price of things go up. Us poor people are stuck in salaries, paying taxes, and can't afford assets. So when I look at those things, it makes me sad, because it's like, mark to markets, your net worth has gone up because you're enjoying inflation and enjoying the price of things go up. But the rich-poor divide is getting wider.
Yeah, well, so that's why you have to look at it, because if you go and look at the entire Forbes list globally, you see new billionaires being minted in several countries, but not a lot being minted
I
here.
would say
But then going back to Nigeria, how many Nigerians have 200,000 naira in their accounts?
That's the
Right.
point.
So for me, because it's a reminder that the rich-poor divide is getting wider. It's a reminder that we're going into some sort of Jane Austen time of, it's just a reminder that we are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer. And that divide is
one
wide.
country that I feel should be there, I guess, because the market is closed, it would be Ethiopia. You find that a lot of the billionaires you see on that are people that come from huge, fairly large population size countries, right?
Yeah.
Ethiopia is $100 million.
I think there's
100 million
There's
people.
only one guy from Ethiopia, Mohammed. Is he still there? He's been knocked off, right?
But again, Ethiopia they also don't have a capital market, so there's also no way to verify the value of such people.
Nobody from Ethiopia on this.
Do you know what's his name? That Mohammed.
I actually don't know. I don't know anybody from that country, but Ethiopia would be a country that I think potentially can mint.
But it appears nobody's toppling Dangote anytime soon, though.
Yeah, it's fine. Why not? It's not a competition. At
All
some
right.
point, money does not make sense anymore after you've crossed a certain level.
Yeah.
All right. So, in terms of combined wealth, Africa billionaires, top 23 billionaires, have a combined wealth of $126 billion. And 14 of them self-made billionaires. No woman on the list.
Oh, wow. Sorry.
All right.
International Women's Day.
Yeah. Hello.
Weak.
Anyway, let's move on to credit, Chukwuma. So you're in the credit space, and I think one of the things we've often talked about on Drinks and Mics is what next. I always say that consumer credit has to be the next big thing. Why is it not taking off as much as we think it should? Why is it still so difficult to get credit?
I think a couple of things, yeah. For the proliferation of consumer credit, credit infrastructure has to be available. And I think over the last decade, we've seen significant shifts in a positive way in that direction. And what do I mean by credit infrastructure? I'm talking about identification systems, right? We've made significant progress with BVN and NIN. We are talking about effective credit bureaus. I'll say, as a practitioner, over the last 5 years, we've seen credit bureau records become a lot more reliable.
Really?
Yes. I mean, 5 years ago, you could not incorporate data from credit bureau in your decision making. Today you can, and there's a lot more information. I know, I think we have about 3-4 really solid ones who keep on improving themselves. And so that data is becoming more reliable. Now, the central bank ensures that financial institutions are dumping data monthly into the credit bureaus. And of course, that's making sure the data set gets richer. I think the payments revolution in Nigeria is also critical. And because at the end of the day, so I think it's identification. I think it is what happens with credit bureaus. I think it's the quality of data that is available, and that's what the payments ecosystem has opened to us. Now, you see, the Nigerian credit market is very unique. If you look at private credit to GDP, Nigeria is somewhere around 15 to 18%. Really low when you compare with South Africa, that is close to 100%. Egypt is about 32%. So what it means is for the giant of Africa with 220 million.
Former giant of Africa.
Well, it depends. If we use population, right? If you look at 220 million people and just about 15% of GDP is private credit, it just shows that there's a lot more opportunity. If you look at the number of people within our population that are financially excluded, then you know that there's a lot more. But if you're tracking the numbers, financial inclusion numbers have improved over the years. So there's a huge potential for credit in Nigeria, but it's down to the role we all play in ensuring credit infrastructure side of things work. Secondly, credit is going to there has to be a structural shift. And that's why at Credit Direct, our focus is on ensuring we are driving an embedded finance philosophy. People don't need to come for credit. Credit should be available where people do life, right? And we were talking about the electricity situation. My light goes off because I've run out of whatever, one click or button, I have access to credit. Decisioning is instantaneous. And that's the work that is going on. I take a huge bet that if we continue with the level of progress we've seen, especially over the last 5-10 years, if we continue at that pace over the next 5-10 years, then I expect to see this credit to GDP ratio nearly double, right? And because it's really down to decision. So, for example, today, 51% of our loans are decisioned using our AI models. I couldn't have dreamt about it 5 years ago, and that's because there's data available that you can trust, that you can train, and you can take better decisions around it, right? So there's a huge potential. And I dare say that if we are going to move as a nation, right, consumer credit has to also progress. But for it to progress, the work has to be done by all stakeholders, government.
How do you guys use AI for this now?
Because at the end of the day, it's what's the data available? How are you training your AI models? And as you train them, they give you better decisioning results, better asset quality. You trust it a bit more and you keep on extending.
So what I've always wondered is when do we get to the world where there is a 23-year-old graduate, he moves into, he gets employment from maybe Arnold's company, moves into a house or needs to get a house, move out of his parents' house, like he doesn't have, maybe has gotten 3 months salary, right? And then needs to move into a house and then needs to buy furniture and stuff and needs credit, and then can just easily apply it to a company and then get that credit. When do we get there? What do we need to get there?
I think it's still down to the elements I spoke about. So let's take the use case.
That guy obviously probably will be on the credit bureau.
But in every market, right, you're expected to build credit over time. So this guy can, if he comes to me today, where his need is actually, say, 500K to buy basic stuff, but he has no credit history, I have no data on him, I can take a bet and give him 50K, for example. 50K may buy him a kettle, buy him something, right? But as he repays, the next time he's coming, he can get 120K. Everyone has to go through that journey because at the end of the day, while we talk about credit infrastructure, Nigerians are also just getting more attuned to this credit play. For the longest, we've been a very cash-based, I own everything in my house kind of country, right? But when I look at the demography, young people coming through in a world where credit is now more popular, these variables are important. If we don't improve our decisioning and get reliability around sources of where those decisions are, we still have weird things today where someone's NIN data and BVN data don't sync. As we work and tidy those things up, then it becomes a lot easier.
So at the moment, it's not even possible.
At the moment,
That's what we're saying.
no, you will get nano loans, you get very small ticket loans, and we use that to build your credit history over time. And I think it's not specific to Nigeria. I think this is how credit works.
Can I ask a question? Is the game not already over with with players like OPay
No, absolutely not. I tell you, one of the when we talk about the blessings of Nigeria, our population is really a blessing to a large extent. So, okay, and the bigger players may have lots of customers, but there are still tens of millions of Nigerians who they haven't served, right? So
so let me answer the question, but let me just throw in the angle. Which what I'm saying is we talk about this addressable market, and I keep saying that we might have 220 million people, but there is no addressable market. The addressable market is actually less than 220 million people.
It depends on how you define that.
Yeah, it depends on how you define the addressable. You see, what do you see in these 220 million people?
So we're saying that we are defining people in this market. We're saying a huge percentage earn $3 a day. $3. You know what I'm saying? That's the definition. Or live on $2, less than $2. I don't know if you define that definition, but live on less than $2 a day. Is that an addressable market for you? Because at the end of the day, their consumption already eats up their income almost immediately.
The truth is that there will never be a model that provides credit to every Nigerian. And remember that this is a private sector driven industry. But as the financial inclusion dragnet improves, you're seeing more people have access to credit. I remember 20 years ago, when Credit Direct started off, nobody was giving credit in large scales to civil servants, right? We saw that niche and said, oh, let's start giving civil servants. In fact, other guys who had sent proposals thought it was madness, right? Today, it's a big thing. We probably have 300 other companies trying to do what nobody was doing 20 years ago. It's the same way people have taken the financial inclusion drive, looking at market women who don't have all the finesse when it comes to data, right? But somebody has said, okay, we'll do it, right? But as that narrative shifts, right? Now, mobile penetration is also a big player. And again, when we talk about our population, yes, the term is not all that. But you see, we have a very young tech, digital native generation that's coming up, right? Who know the value of data. So whether it is alternative data, whether it's financial data footprints that they are living on, they are going to be improving the data set that we can make credit decisions on, right? Again, it's going to start in small pockets where, I'm starting here with 50K, but in a year, it could be up to 300K, right? Because responsible lending is a critical philosophy that we must always have. We're not giving you credit for the sake of giving credit. We don't want you to become debt-ridden because we have liquidity to provide credit to you. So again, all those nuances have to balance out. There has to be that equilibrium point. But the opportunity is huge. I think the future is bright. Could we move at a faster pace? Yes, there's stuff that regulators have to do. There's stuff that financial institutions have to do. But I think the future is really bright.
The credit has been something that you've been into in a bit.
Yeah.
Any questions for Chukwuma?
No. Credit? So for me, are you focused more on the consumer side, or do you also look at institutions?
So we do consumers and small and medium enterprises.
As I get deeper into credits, the issue is not necessarily the liquidity coming from the, I'm in the middle, so the liability side. But the issue has been finding opportunities, right? So finding opportunities that you're comfortable with, and you know that whatever institution it is or whatever project you're funding, whether it's accounts receivables or whatever it is, you can actually deploy cash and, make the money back.
Yeah.
Right? It's return on capital. So how are you guys doing with this, with your deployment of cash, and then making sure that there's no NPLs or NPLs are managed?
Yeah, I think it's first.
I'm struggling.
Yeah, the reality is that it's going to take some time, right? When you can look at a customer and say, I'll just give you credit, and you expect him to pay back. Again, I talked about Nigerians being on a journey to accept credit. It will surprise you to know that sometimes you're giving someone credit and somebody else is telling me, no, this is, I have real life cases where you've given credit and somebody else has whispered that, oh, no, this was COVID relief fund. You're not meant to pay back. Yeah.
No, I don't understand.
No, for real. So I'll give you an example. It happened to a lender, thankfully not us, right? Who was going on a growth drive, and so had little kiosks everywhere. Put people in a kiosk to say, okay, download our app, you have access to credit. Some smart guy takes upon himself to play the role of an agent. He's onboarding guys and saying to them that, oh, when you get this money, you transfer it to me because this thing is government money that we are giving you, right? But I'm the agent. So if I've given you 100K loan, just give me 50K or whatever, and that is
that 50K is.
Yeah, that's how for me linking. If not, they won't have given you. But I have the plug. I have to connect. And many lending companies fell victim to this kind of.
Oh wow!
Fell victim to this kind of ploy. Now, the importance of getting credit infrastructure, and I keep on strengthening it, talking about it, is if we don't fix that bit, then many lenders will be out of business in the short run. Because you're going to be consumed by NPL. So I always say that giving credit is the easiest part of the narrative. Because if you want to give 5 billion naira every hour, all you need to say is come and take credit. Are you going to collect your money back, and can you price right? For it to make sense. So one of the reasons why you see lenders pricing exorbitantly is because they want to make sure that, well, on this portfolio, I'm protected and have enough liquidity to continue. So it's really it's tough, and that's why we are still at that very early stage of our credit penetration journey in Nigeria compared to developed economies or even African peers. We are far off for it. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, but I would say that we are seeing progress every day.
I have a working theory, and this is from my e-commerce experience, that women are better creditors than men. I find that women always pay back. When you lend to retailers, mostly women, 90% of women, is that they might have delays in paying you, but you always find that they pay you back. Because the thing is, that woman that has a kiosk or a shop, right? She's probably doing maybe 500K a month, as an example. You lend her 200,000. She's not going to run away because of 200,000, right? Because she knows that she has a verifiable location that you can come and disturb her every day, right? Now, she might have the money to pay school fees or whatever, but you find that she would always pay you back. So I actually find that NPLs in that segment of the market is actually less than 1%. But a lot of banks choose not to play in that space because they just don't have the skin or the...
I mean, data...
It's not really their work, though. I mean, I kind of always think that lending at that very, retail level should be done by microfinance banks. That's why they exist.
So if I use data that we have in our organization, 5% each of our customers are male and about 15%, or it is about an 80-20 mix. And yes, you're right. You see better repayment rates, right? But again, if you take it from a statistical sample size, there are lots more men. If you start looking at the size, does it really change the narrative? But there is a mindset, and with our financial inclusion business, we see that a lot. The women we make credit available to are a lot more responsible when it comes to meeting the obligations as and when due. So yeah.
All right. Last thing on this subject. One thing I've always looked up. I mean, credit comes in both ways. So is it that your consumer credit is going? Is it that the credit is going to retailers, which is the woman selling, or is going to the consumers? Which one really drives the economy more?
I think
because it kind of sounds like that subsidy issue, do you subsidize production? So which one do you think stimulates the economy quicker?
I think both sides, right, are critical for stimulation of the economy. And I mean, if you look at how we operate, we give individuals and we give businesses, right? Because we understand that businesses create that ecosystem type effect where, I mean, if I'm giving a guy who's a merchant, he's paying salaries, he's producing things that the consumer does. But again, the consumer has last mile type realities. One pays rent, he needs pays hospital bill. So you just need to have a product that serves the different segments at the right time. I always argue, for example, that what I see in credit today is speed is of essence, right? If a guy has a need today, he has a need today. I mean, when we started Credit Direct 20 years ago, we used to wear a badge on our shirts 24 hours, right? It was a big thing. Nobody was doing it at the time. Today, we're able to disburse quite a large chunk of our loans within 3 minutes, within 1 to 3 minutes. Speed has replaced quite a number of all the other critical things, because when there is a need, it needs to be sorted out today. So whether it's from an individual standpoint or a business standpoint, the products and their requirements are different, but there are two markets that need to be served. And technology is helping a great deal in addressing that and achieving scale.
Talking about technology though, so I used Cloud for the first time. You know, after we had last week's drinks and mics, and you guys were going on and on about Cloud. So I decided to use it, and my God. I've used it before.
Yeah, Claude. I started using it 2 days ago. It's mind blowing.
This is no advert for Club. Oh, man.
It actually, it's impressive.
Stuff is crazy.
It's impressive. So okay, I fed it a few things just so it can figure out how I think. But then I decided to request of it to be the other side. Right. So it challenges me. So if I say I want to take a position, I want to do something, it tells me stop and think through this. So it looks at other aspects.
People are going to lose jobs.
Yeah,
because by using it over the last few days, it just occurred to me clearly that people are going to lose jobs.
It has some flaws that frighten
jobs
me.
Are going to go.
It has some flaws that frighten me in terms of the how precise it is. I fed it some data and it read the data wrong this morning. Yeah, I don't understand why it did that. So I had to then go back.
Are you paying for it? Are you using the free version?
I'm paying, yeah, I don't know.
What if you're the one that is wrong?
No, I'm not wrong. No.
So you knew the outcome you were expecting.
I had an idea of what it should be, right? But I was too lazy to do the work. So I asked it to do the work, and it gave me date. It gave me.
Did you try Gemini or ChatGPT?
No, I didn't. I just did it myself because at the end of the day, I also think that one of the things that AI destroys is your ability to focus for a long time. So I'm always worried about the fact that if I get information too easy, if I read data too easy, if I analyze data too easily, there's a level of focus, the muscle that I will lose. So I'm always.
But we'll go on whether it's going to do. I mean, to a large extent, you can. It's not wrong to reach that conclusion that this could be a job destroying mechanism. However, I sometimes think about it differently, because if it's improving productivity, it's creating an opportunity for growth within the organization. So if you're doing things quicker, it's making you take better decisions, it's helping you achieve scale. With that scale will come it may be marginal, but it will create room for more jobs. In our organization, for example, we are seeing roles become completely redefined. You know, many years ago, we used to have a role where somebody was putting in customer data into data entry. But today, technology has replaced it in the sense that customers do it themselves today. So I don't need to have that role, right? Because technology has replaced. Same thing is happening with AI. If someone was doing operations, just doing some sort of manual reconciliation, and you have an RPA that does that today.
What's an RPA?
Yeah, but
robotic process automation, where it's doing it faster, it's doing it doesn't ask for 13th month, doesn't need rice during Christmas. It's doing it every day, Saturday, Sunday, right?
Yeah,
but what then happens is that as the organization expands, there will be new roles that.
Yeah, but when I was an intern, right, I used to help write investment letters. I used to put presentations together. That was also helping me learn the markets. But
you don't need that now. Yeah,
exactly. So it's taken away. I don't need an intern now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I don't need someone to go and get information. I don't need someone to help me write an investor letter or to confirm something or to put a presentation together. So that.
Yeah, so I think organizations
that on the job training as well that I had from doing investor presentations.
The world of work definitely changes significantly with AI. Some of the guys coming through university or maybe in secondary school now will not meet certain roles you and I had.
So do you guys, anyway, this is going to be on my buy, sell or hold, on our buy, sell or hold section, because I want to go into this and let's figure out what happens, who actually, whose job is more protected in the future? Is it the job of organizer or is it the job of an entry-level employee?
I think organizer.
Oh, we're going to get there. Buy, sell, or hold.
Okay, I think organizer. I can't sleep, but I'm tweeting to Claude, right?
I would argue otherwise.
Oh, really?
We're going to get there buy, sell, or hold. All right. It's it basically clocked 2 hours. This has been Drinks and Mics, brought to you by Diabetrics. It was a pleasure having Chukwuma Nwanze on the show today. Bye, Salaho Chukwuma.
Bye.
That's a bye. Really appreciate you today. Thanks so much for being on the show. Of course, if you've been watching this to Drinks and Mics, we do this every Friday. We go on air every Friday on our YouTube channel, Nairametrics TV. Next week, we have a special live audience edition at the Landmark. Nairametrics Investor Fair WISE 1.0 is happening at the Landmark Tuesday and Wednesday. The Drinks and Mics gang is going to be there for a live audience session on Wednesday. We're going to have a special guest in the house, so you might want to be part of it. If you want to be part of it, I think there are links below. You can just go in there, register, and you're going to see the full gang in the house. Even Sam is going to be around as well. And Sunji is going to be back as well next week. And for the women out there, don't worry, we haven't forgotten you. We have a special women edition coming up before the end of March. Hopefully, if we can get our beautiful ladies on ground. It's always not easy to get ladies, especially in the evening, the Drinks and Mics. We do want to have more of them. And we've gotten a lot of complaints that, come on, man, it's always guys.
Well, we try.
We try. You can't imagine what it is like.
We try.
It's hard to get women. Drinks and Mics.
Women,
it is tough. You women, come on, do better, man. So be on air a lot more. So that's why we appreciate those that are always available. We don't joke, especially with Olake. We don't joke with Olake at all. She's the member of the gang anytime. All right. For those who want to know what our buy, sell, or hold is, you got to be a member of the Drinks and Mic crew. And the buy, sell, or hold episode usually comes out a few days later. But until we do this again next time, do have a profitable week ahead. Bye.